Okay, so अपने नए स्टूडेंट का नाम है Okay, so Arushi, since you have missed only 3 lectures, huh? अभी तक कितने हुए? 2 ही हुए. So the 2 PPTs I have shared on the group, go through them. So we basically done what did we do in our 2 lectures? Subject the pronoun agreement, pronouns and possessives. Okay. Anything else? And some root words. So root words we'll be doing every day a little bit. Right? So you go through the PPTs and the recorded lesson will also be there. So you can, if you can't find the link, ask for the link. And then let me know if there is something which you don't understand. There's nothing not to understand in that. Yes, good afternoon. Mehak. So Mehak, you also haven't attended the previous sessions, right? So as I was telling Arif also, you can go through the PPTs that are shared on the group. And if you have any doubts, okay. So anyone with any new words today? Yes, sir. 2 words. Write on the board. Come on, and so that one task which is going to be there all the time, you have to do. Over the week, you have to read every day. Reading every day is very important. Read some article, not a story. Right? Read any article, editorial, something that is boring, some topic that you don't like at all. Could be related to social studies, politics, even science, anything. So you are in the 11th or 12th? 11th. You're from commerce or science? Yes, sir. So, third, a pool. Okay. And literally wasting time. Did you find any synonyms for these? No? Okay, whenever you read a word, you write down the meaning, find the synonyms and antonyms. Yeah. So, anybody else with any words? Yes. What 5 words? Can you write at least 2? And you can tell us others. You can read the other 3, you can write 2. You got ephemeral, which means lasting very long. What would be the opposite of ephemeral?
Something lasting very like lasting
Yeah.
time.
Yes, please.
And the synonymous eternal
Eternal.
and entity. And of this circuit means something illogical or
So if you can break down the word obfuscate, so what do we get? Something related to obscure.
exactly, that's the synonym.
Right? So obscure would mean something that is not clear or is illogical. Okay, what other words do you have?
I got serendipity, development of an event in a good or happy way.
Yeah.
And quixotic, extremely idealistic or.
Can you write the word for everyone? Exotic. That means?
That means something extremely idealistic or like impractical, unrealistic.
Impractical. It's usually related to something you think about, which is absolutely hypothetical, right? Which cannot be true. Or wishful thinking, we can say, right? Thank you. Okay, anybody else with any words? You have? No? No one? Haven't been reading? Yeah. Okay. Next time, remember to bring them to class. So we can do one thing I was thinking. Since the group we have, the WhatsApp group we have, you people can't interact. Yeah. So would you want a group of just you students where you can interact? You can put up words, you can put up questions, right? Would be good. Maybe all extra because the group itself, if we put up too much material, it gets very cluttered. So we can have a group dedicated only to our studies. Yeah. So anybody wants to take the responsibility of creating the group? Yes. Please. Okay. And include me also. Don't forget that. Okay. So now as we said, we'll do 5 words every day for some time, and then I will tell you people to come up with your rules, right? And I'm sorry you haven't got the new study material as yet. Anyone got it? Uh-huh. Okay, maybe by the next lesson you will be getting. So in that you have at least about 50 pages of only root words. There. I was going through the material and it's quite exhaustive. So yeah, so that is not to be learned in one day, of course. So it's an ongoing process. Over the year, till the time of your exam, you will be at least familiar with the rules. That's the purpose, right? Okay, so we did fail, no? The root word here would be I. Root word Thai means, you can see, related to religion or God. Yeah. Any word you can think of with the root word Thai?
Thesis. Thesis.
Thesis. Okay. Anything else? What does it mean?
A follower of God.
Follower of God. What would the opposite be?
Antithesis.
No.
Atheist.
Atheist. Atheist would be the opposite. Who doesn't believe in God. Anything else? So atheist, pantheist, we got pantheist. Pan means
Multiple.
multiple or covering a large area. Yeah. So that would be which is all over. Person who believes in all gods would be pantheist. Monotheist, mono plus theist, believing one God. Okay. Now we have a root word fact. Good afternoon, Harini. Can we have a video on, please?
Good afternoon. Yes.
Yes, Harini, why are you so late?
Ma'am, it's 12:30.
Pardon?
The class starts at 12:30, right?
No, it's 12:15.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I thought it was 12:30. Sorry.
That's not 12:30. We do get confused. That 15 doesn't register. Okay, root word fact. I mean, no, fact means something that is actual. But when we talk about a root word, originates from Latin. It means to make. Right? Something that is made, like factory. Factory is a place where something is manufactured. Right? Manufactured, FACT is also there in it, means making, creating or making. Artifact, but we call it artifact. Something related to art, which is created by humans. Factor. When you talk about numbers, you have factors. Factors make the number. Yeah. Like if we talk about a particular reason, that is the factor for something happening. Okay. So something that, so something that is a deciding factor, that is maker. Benefactor. To someone who does good, like benevolent. Remember? Benevolent is also someone who does good. Benefactor is also who creates the good or does good. So factor will always relate to create. Superfaction. Something that makes you suppressed. Right? This also has the root word fact. Petrifaction. What's petri related to? Petrify means
Killing someone means cover.
maybe petrification.
It's a type of torture.
Yeah.
People do make things clones at you.
So making people scared. So you see a ghost, you are petrified. You freeze. So in chemistry, petrification would be freezing something. That's where it comes from. To make something freeze. So petrifaction turned to stone. Right? In mythology, you get these stories, turning something to stone. So if you take it literally, it means turning to stone. If you take it idiomatically, means you freeze. Right? You're so scared that you froze. You couldn't move. Malefactor. Now, benefactor is somebody who does good. Mal means evil, negative. Yeah. So malefactor would be somebody who does evil, or malevolent, somebody who does evil. Okay. Satisfaction. Satisfy, satisfaction means you are making somebody satisfied, means there's enough. Yeah, you have made enough, or a feeling of enough. That is satisfaction. These all come from the root word fact. Dick or dictator. What would that mean?
State leader.
Now, diction related to dictation related to speech and words, right? To say something. Dictation means you are saying something, right? Diction means speech. Diction is clear.
It also means the pronunciation.
Pronunciation. Diction also means pronunciation, right? How you pronounce a word. So now if you say dictator, how do you relate?
Person who influences by his speech.
Person who influences by speech or
Person with absolute control.
Absolute control, who says he is in control, right? But their action also comes in. Prediction. Pre means, now there are two root words here. One is pre, one is diction or dict, right? So prediction, you know what prediction is. To say something even before it happens. Dictated, like dictating something. So you are telling somebody something, either to write or this. Verdict. Verdict means to bring out the truth or say the truth. Or as it's used in law,
Final decision.
Final decision. Yeah. So when they pronounce the final decision or they say the final decision level. Indicate.
Pointing or something.
Specify, to say something specifically, or to make known, yeah, to indicate something. That is, now indicate would usually be used in what sense? You say it clearly, or do you say something which means or points to something else?
Points to
right? So in the usage, it will be, it points to something, right? Yes, please.
IPM.
Yeah. You are
Sheesh Sinha.
Shirshina.
Listen.
Have a seat. And so first step,
Yes.
you attended maths before this? And by the way, class starts at 12:15. Go welcome. Sunday, 12:15. Yeah? Take note of that. You in the 11th or 12th?
11.
Okay, so we are doing some root words right now. You may join in with your attention. Contradict,
Something against.
yeah, something opposite or something against. Dictionary, everyone knows. Relates to words, tells us about words. That's why we call it dictionary. Addicted, we all use addicted in some way or the other, right? So when we talk about the root word dict in it, it amounts to say that you love something very much, right? So when you love something very much, it translates to obsession. And that's where addiction comes in. right? Let's do this one. Side is a Latin word meaning kill, relates to killing. So the first thing comes to mind is suicide, genocide, homicide, yeah, pesticide,
Giving a feeling of insects.
something that you use to kill insects. So anything which has side in it will relate to killing. Patricide. Patri means father, right? Oxoricide. Oxor in Latin means wife, right? So killing wife would be oxoricide. Maritricide. Married in Latin means husband. So killing husband would be matricide. Infanticide, everyone knows. Infant. Herbicide. Herb. Herb means plants. Killing plants. Or weeds. Insecticide. Something you use to kill insects. Fungicide. Fungi is singular or plural? Fungi is singular or plural? Singular. Sure. Plural. Fungus, fungi. Locus, loci. Those ending with US, plural will be I. Octopus, octopi. Read the whole lesson. Nobody opened the PPT and revised. Better do it now. Okay? Rodenticide. Rodent means rats. Something you use to get rid of rats would be rodenticide. So these are few. You will get about 100 or so of slides. Yeah? So you can go to the list if you like. But you know, CIDE side relates to filling. Right? Okay, Avi side. Avi means birds. Avi relates to birds. Aviary means, what does aviary mean? Birdhouse. Place where birds live. Germicide, something that destroys germs or microorganisms. Pesticide, you all know, they're pests, usually used in agriculture. Ecocide, eco relates to environment, right? But what does eco in economics mean?
Country.
The what environment? Financial environment. Monetary environment. Yeah. Okay. Herbicide. Verb related to words. Destroying words is herbicide. We don't usually come across this word, but that's what it is. Okay. Root word anti. Easy? We know we use this very often. Antithesis means
Opposite words.
connected with. No, it is just two opposites, like a paradox. Antithesis would be something opposite of the main hypothesis or the main reason. Say you're giving a reason for something and you have something which disclaims that. That would be an antithesis. So let's see what words we have.
Also,
Yes.
literary device, right?
Yeah, that is a literary device which brings in the opposite, opposite theme or thought.
So that is finding that literary device. That means like two words are connected side by side. There is not a word. And if there is a word.
That's an oxymoron. Two words used together but mean opposites. That is an oxymoron. Okay, so antiseptic. You know what this is? Something that is used to treat wounds or whatever, so treat infection, goes against infection. Antidote is also, you know, when do you use an antidote?
When you replace things, poisons.
Yeah. Or you've got a wasp bite, a bee stings you, you're given an antidote. Like paracetamol is an antidote for fever. Right? Antisocial, somebody who goes against social norms. Antioxidants, you know.
I have heard of.
Yeah.
So for anti-social response, there was a synonym was recluse. So this, but it's that the person who is recluse does not interact with people. It was not like
That would be unsocial.
But
A
it was
person who doesn't interact, be unsocial. Antisocial is somebody who is acting against society.
it was a synonym for
Yeah, synonyms they do. See, when you go to the list of synonyms, they do give words which are related. Yeah, it may not be an exact synonym, but could be related. So somebody who is social, somebody who is not social. But somebody who is recluse would be unsocial. And somebody who acts against the norms of society would be antisocial. Specifically. Okay, antioxidants everyone knows. You've studied antioxidants sometime in school. Something that reduces your oxidation in your body, that's also an antioxidant. So these are chemicals. So that's words for today. Now everyone will come up with at least 5 words next time. Write it down. Homework, 5 root words and 5 words with synonyms and antonyms. And where will you get your 5 words with synonyms and antonyms from? From what you read. Right? So 5 minutes of reading every single day. For those who are new here, 5 minutes of reading every single day you have to do. So you have to keep yourself motivated to do that. Yes? Do you read? What do you read? What book?
About my
About? Okay. What else? So are you interested in mythology? What are you not interested in?
fiction.
Hmm?
Fiction.
Fiction. Okay. Are you interested in editorials of the newspaper?
It is about politics, then maybe
Okay. So everyone, I have told the ones who were there from before. So you have to read the editorial of the newspaper or any article which you are not interested in, apart from keeping up with the current events. Right? So read something that is boring. That helps you in your comprehension. But when you get a big comprehension passes in your exam, what happens? Goes over your head. And you don't want to read it. And that's where you lose how many questions? 6 to 7 per passage. Yeah. Like this time, I met Indore gave you 3 comprehension passages. There were 18 questions. 18 questions only comprehension. The passages were not very easy. Okay? So that's why you have to get into the habit of reading things which are difficult, you're not interested in. And what do you do when you read? Sanika, what do you do when you read? Just tell them these new faces. The new words, what else? You look at the structure, how the paragraph begins, how the paragraph ends, right? How are the sentences linked, transition words, everything. Yeah, reading doesn't mean just what it is about. Reading means go into the details of it. So, okay, anyone has doubts in what we have done so far? Pronoun agreement, pronouns possessives. No? So you got your answer to the format of the test. The introductory PPT have that. Really? Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, let me know if the screen changes or not, otherwise I'll share it again. Okay, so today we'll be moving on to subject-verb agreement. Now, what are 3 things that I have told you to look for in a sentence? 3 things.
Object, object, and
Object and verb. And the pronouns. Right? If the question is related to pronoun. Otherwise, most important thing is to be able to identify the correct subject, the correct object, and the verb that is related to the subject. Right? You feeling lost? So when we talk about subject-verb agreement, now in pronoun agreement, what did we look at? Pronouns should match the subject. In what way? Pronouns should match the subject. How? In number and gender. Remember? Singular pronouns should have singular subjects. Similarly, plural subjects should have plural pronouns. And they should always match in gender. And we've already also done the difference between possessive pronouns and plurals, so you don't get mixed up. Anything with an S is not always plural or always possessive. Depends upon the word. And what's the most important word with apostrophe that you have to remember? It's ITS, IT apostrophe S. ITS is possessive. IT apostrophe S means?
It is.
Yes.
it is.
You never forget that. So now when we come to subject-verb agreement, that means the verb should agree with the subject. How? Now here we don't have gender. We have singular subject, singular verb, plural subject, plural verb, and then we have our complications. Yeah. So learning those complications is important. So we begin with subjects must agree in numbers, singular, singular, plural, plural. So we come down to identifying what the subject is, what the verb is, and what the object is. So write it down. In any sentence, identify subject, verb, and object. So when you are reading a sentence, no matter how big is it, you have to be able to identify. Now, if it has 3 or 4 nouns coming in, all of them will be subject? No. One of them will be a subject. Yeah. So you have to be able to identify what the main subject is. Let's look at this sentence. The discovery of new medicines was or were, that will be the verb, either of them, vital to the company's growth.
Was.
What verb will you use? So you have to identify the subject. What's the subject here? Okay, when you have a sentence, what are you supposed to do? Break it down. Understand the sentence. If you don't understand the sentence, you can't get your answer. So, now if you look at the second part, vital to the company's growth. Something is vital to the company's growth. What is vital? Discovery of new medicines.
The object is vital to the subject's growth. So you have to company the subject and medicines is the object.
What is doing? Okay, now let's get back to what is the subject? What is the subject of the sentence? Something who does. Where the action lies. So, where is the action? Company is the action.
The company is doing that.
Is the company doing the action? Something is vital to the company's growth. So that thing which is vital is doing something for the growth. Understand the sentence. What is vital to the company's growth? Discovery of medicines. Now we come down to something more. What is doing the action? The medicine or the discovery?
The discovery.
Medicine is doing the action. Where's the action? Identify the action. Discovery. The action is the discovery. So here's a little trick. Whenever you come across a preposition of, we'll go into details later. This is just because we have this sentence over here. Anything that comes before the of, so this is a compound subject, as you can see. Discovery of medicines, we can say is a compound subject. Now, what is the main subject? Which we have to figure out, which is related to the verb. Anything that comes before the preposition. Of is a preposition here. What comes before? Discovery. So your subject for the action is discovery. Now discovery is singular or plural? Singular. What will your verb be? Was. Right? Not as easy as it seems.
But you would get this if you are reading something, like if it were a passage, you could get it was, there should be words there. So why do we need to evaluate it that much? Are it wasting time?
Because you will get a question. You have a sentence. Identify the correct verb. Or you are given a sentence with some errors. Identify the part with an error. Right? So you should know what the verb is related to. These are related to IPM questions. That's why we have to go into them. Right? IPM will not ask you what is a verb. They will ask you the usage. So that's where the subject verb agreement is important. So whenever you get a sentence, it's very important to figure out what is doing the action. That will be your subject. Your verb will be related to your subject. And by definition, what is an object of a sentence? Something that is receiving the action or being affected by the action. So the company is doing the action or receiving the action? Receiving the action. Company is the object. So the moment you come across with a noun doesn't mean it is a subject. Right? Now the discovery. Discovery is what form of speech? Noun, verb, adjective, adverb, what is it? This is the discovery. It is noun. Abstract noun. Right? So it's important to know your nouns again. So what are the different types of nouns that you will come across and need to know? Abstract nouns. Countable, uncountable. What else? Collective nouns, very important. Countable, uncountable are also very important, but that's the most confusing part. How to use them in a sentence. And now you are not writing your own sentence, remember. You have sentences, all of them are confusing. You have to be able to figure out the correct. Right? Okay. So now when we talk about so singular subjects, we know take singular verbs. Now if you have two singular subjects connected with and, then your verb will be plural. Two singular subjects connected with and, verb is plural. Very good. So the secretary and the principal are the, right? We just write down the rule. Singular subjects connected with and, verb is, or take a plural verb. Okay. The doctoral student and the committee members. What do we have here? We have one singular and. So what is the first subject? The doctoral student. Second subject? Committee members. Committee members is singular or plural? Plural. Yeah? Committee members. You're talking about members, not committee. If it was only committee, it would be a collective noun single. Committee members will become plural. Now, whether you have two singular subjects or one singular, one plural, connected with and, your verb will be plural. Okay? So, you have write. Write is plural. Was a singular right? Writes. He writes. The student, doctoral student writes. The doctoral student and committee members, right? Even if you had a singular over here, then also it will be right. Singular plurals, you have to go through. Okay, let's look at the last sentence. What do you see here? The percentage of employees who called in sick and the number of employees who left their jobs within 2 years are reflective of the level of satisfaction. So we have an and we have two subjects, right? Now, what are the subjects? First subject.
Employees who called in sick.
The percentage of employees. It's a compound subject. What's your main subject related to the verb? The percentage, not the employees. Anything that comes before the of. So if you have of coming in the middle, what comes before the of is your subject, not what comes. Yeah, the whole thing is a compound subject, but that is also a subject, but that is not related to your verb. Right? So what is related to your verb over here? The percentage and the number. Right? So suppose your verb was not given. Art was not given. Then you have to figure out your verb, you know. Because we have and in the middle, two subjects connected with and, verb will always be plural. Okay? That's easy.
Also, because whenever percentage of proportion is given, we use plural.
The percentage is singular. Number is also singular. The number is. Percentage is. They're both singular. Employees can be plural, but when you say percentage of employees, it's singular. Number of employees, singular. So here we actually have two singular subjects connected with that. Got it? Now, suppose your subjects are connected with. So, with as well as, along with and besides. Write these words. So if you have with as well as, along with and besides, the rule changes. So write this and then we'll see how the rule changes. Do you remember? What's the rule?
And the verb will change.
How will the verb change? What will it follow? Now you have two subjects and with in the middle.
We use singular verb for them.
We use the first
Yes,
subject.
Trinity? You will use first.
Will we use singular verb for them?
So here we have a first subject rule. If the first subject is singular, your verb is singular. If your first subject is plural, verb will be plural. So here the rule related to and does not apply. So write this down. You use the first subject rule. If you have a first subject as singular, verb is singular, even if the second subject is plural. If the first subject is plural and the second subject is singular, your verb will be plural. Okay? This is very important and you will always get questions on this because they know if you don't know the rule, you will get it wrong. So it's important to know these rules. Suppose we look at the sentence. The candidate along with her supporters. Now leaves or leave?
Leave the
Leave the building? Huh? Read the rule. Read the rule again. Leave is singular or plural? Leave. Leaves is singular, leave is plural. leaves, Sanika leaves the classroom early. Sanika and Anisha leave the classroom. So, what do we have here? The candidate along with. Now, your rule comes in. Your first subject rule. So whenever in a sentence you see along with, as well as, besides, you have to be careful. So the candidate along with her supporters, verb will not be plural even though you have two subjects and one of them is also plural. First subject rule will apply. Very important. Right? Let's look at this one. The employees of the organization as well as the CEO have an interest in the project success. So what's your first subject here? Employees. Singular or plural? What is connecting? Your connector is as well as. So it's your first subject is plural, your verb will be plural. Now suppose I said the CEO as well as the employees of the organization. Then what will change? The CEO comes first, employees come in place of CEO. What will be? Singular. Yeah, then it will not be have, it will be has. That's what you have. Yeah, so the singular subject and the plural subject have interchanged position, your verb changes. Because why? You have as well as. Got it? This is extremely important. Never go wrong in these. You'll always get questions related to this. And if you are not careful, -1. So when you read this, first thing that comes to your mind is two subjects. Verb should be plural. Only when you have and in the middle, your verb will be plural. Otherwise, it is the first subject that determines it. Right? Now, all the dresses besides Rita's are in the box. What is your first subject? Dresses. Connected with besides. So, now suppose the first subject was singular. Is in the mix. Right? So it may seem odd. You may think, is the sentence correct or not? When the first subject is singular, but you remember the rule. They will give you first subject singular and second subject plural so that you are confused. Yeah, but you are smarter than them. You know the rules. Okay. Now, next comes the correlative conjunctions. Anyone remembers correlative conjunctions? Last chapter, yeah. Yes, what are correlative conjunctions? Any idea? Either or, neither or so, or the so. Those are correlative conjunctions which come in pairs. Correlative conjunctions are always used in pairs. Right? So, if there are two singular subjects, your verb will be singular. Say either or, neither nor, Singular subjects, verb is singular. Like either Crystal or Julia, it won't be want, it will be wants. Because you have two singular subjects joined with either or. So write it down. Correlative conjunctions, either or, neither nor, or nor. Yeah. It's not sort of, but not really that's not a conjunction, that is a usage of verbs. But also always is followed by not only but also. So that is not a conjunction as such, but it's an idiomatic expression. Not an idiom, idiomatic expression. Right? Okay, so if you have two singular subjects, your verb is singular. Neither the city nor its constituency. City is singular, constituency is collective noun singular. Plural. That is a singular verb. Now, if you have two plural subjects with a correlative conjunction, then what? Verb will be plural. Right? So, neither the teachers nor the students. Verb will be a verb which is plural. Verb present in the question. Okay? So those of you who did this last year don't remember anything. You remember? Can recollect. Okay. Now we have two singular subjects, singular verb, two plural subjects, plural. Yeah. Now suppose you have one singular subject and one plural subject. Then what? Yes.
Used to go with closest
To the verb. Yeah, or the second subject. Or if it is confusing, what is the second subject? Go with the one which is closest to it. So, like neither he nor his sisters. He is singular, sisters is plural. Your verb will be plural. Right? So closest to the verb is the sisters. Neither they nor he is telling lies or not telling lies. Is telling lies. Neither nor, your first subject is plural, second subject is singular. So any correlative conjunction, now whether, you can remember it this way, whether your subjects are singular or they are plural or one singular, one plural, always whatever is closest to the verb. Right? Whether you have singular, plural, doesn't matter. Every time it is closest to the verb. So even if it is singular, closest to the verb, plural, closest to the verb, one singular, one plural, closest to the verb. Yeah. So you have two subjects here. One is singular, one is plural. What determines the verb is the one closer to it. How closest? Okay, let's look at this sentence. Let it not complicated. Neither a simple request nor impassionate pleas affect. Now your verb is affect. Right? The decisions of the judge. So what is your subjects here? Request and pleads. Right? Your subjects here are request and pleads. Now you have neither no. Request is singular or plural? Singular. Please, plural. Your subject Your second subject is plural. Your verb will be plural. What will the singular of affect be? Affects. What's the meaning of affect? Impacts. Yeah. What's the difference between affect and effect? Affect and effect. Hmm? Yeah, it is a result of impact, or that's also a result. Yeah. So what is the difference? Main difference.
Like is like is process and it is like itself.
The main difference that you have to remember, if you get these words in usage, effect with an E is used as a noun. The result of, the effect. Right? Affect with an A is a verb. Something has an effect. Or something affects. So if you can remember this way, A, affect, action. So affect is the verb, effect is the noun. You'll come across, this is very, very favorite, like it's and its, affect and effect is also a very favorite question that any exam will come. Right? Okay. Now let's look at this one. The student or the committee members write every day. What are your subjects here? So what is write is your verb. Subject closest to the verb is singular or plural? So that's one rule you have to remember. How many rules will we do? Look at the rules you've written down. Hmm? What rules? Hmm? Okay. So now what are gerunds? If anyone remembers. ING words. Hmm? So what about the ING word? Words ending, all words ending in ING are nouns, used as nouns. Verbs ending in ing, which are used as nouns, are called gerunds. Right? For example, swimming. I am swimming is what? Verb. This is a swimming competition. It's used as a noun. That's a gerund. Correct? Okay. Now, gerunds are always singular. Gerunds are never used in the plural form. Okay? So, like collective nouns are always singular, gerunds are always singular. Like running is my favorite sport. Running is a gerund. It's not the verb. I am running will be wrong. But running as a sport is a gerund. And gerunds and infinitives are not used as verbs. They always use as nouns. Okay? Like infinitives are what? The to-do verbs. To-do form of the verb. Like to visit. To visit is the verb form or a gerund form or the noun form. It's the noun form. To visit the Grand Canyon is my lifelong dream. I want to visit the Grand Canyon will be the verb. To visit. So whenever you have come across to added to the verb, that is the infinitive. And it is the noun form. and will be treated as singular. So your verb here is singular. So gerunds can be used as the subject, like we saw in the first one, or this one also, even infinitives. So when infinitives and gerunds are used as a subject of the sentence, your verb will be what? Singular. Right? Don't be confused. But again, we are using these gerunds as nouns. Two nouns connected with and, your verb will be plural. So two gerunds connected with and, your verb will be. That is, if you have two gerunds, like swimming and running are my favorite sports. Yeah. So whenever and comes between two subjects, your verb is always plural. Two singular subjects or two plural subjects or one singular and one plural, verb will be plural. Like standing in the water was a bad idea. We are using what here? Past tense. Was is singular or plural? Singular. What will the plural form of was be? Were. Now swimming in the ocean and playing drums. What are your gerunds here? Swimming and playing. So we have two gerunds. Verb will be plural. Are my hobbies. Now two infinitives, also you follow the same rule. If there are two infinitives and in the middle, then you have a plural. So whether you have gerunds or infinitives or singular nouns or singular subjects, with and in the middle, you'll have a plural. Okay? Like to walk and to chew gum. To walk is an infinitive. To chew gum, we have to do as an infinitive. Require great skill. The verb is require, singular. If you have only one of the subjects, it will be requires. Okay, all clear so far? No doubts? Now, collective nouns we know are single. Right? Now, how do we use them? Like if we have a group of boys, it will be singular or plural? Group of boys. Singular. Anything that has off in the middle, you have to be careful. Identify the off in the middle, circle it. What comes before is your subject. So your subject is not the boys, but the group. Right?
And all collective nouns are always all collective nouns are always.
Yes. Collective nouns as such are singular. Usage of collective nouns is singular. There may be some usage, difference in usages when it is combined with something else. Then maybe it changes. Otherwise, as a rule, collective nouns are singular. Group, team, herd, class, crowd. How do you use crowd in a sentence? How would you use crowd in a sentence?
The crowd was going crazy.
Crowd was going crazy. Singular. The crowd is big. Yeah. So what is the verb coming in? Singular or plural?
Singular.
Singular verb. Crowd may comprise of a lot of people. If you say the crowd of people, then pardon? Can you be a little louder? Can you be a little louder? Huh.
So like the mob boss is the violent crowd leader. The boss is a violent crowd leader. A mob is called like a group or organization, like
A mob
type organization.
Mob is not an organized thing. Mob is always unorganized. A group can be organized. Right? When you talk about a mob in usage, it relates to something that is unorganized. Okay, so we know these are. Okay, let's look at this. The town council. Yeah. The town council votes on the bicycling ordinance this summer. Your subject is the town council. Council is collective noun. So votes. Now, if I say the town council members, then it will be all the members of the town council vote. Your subject becomes the members, right? The group means the jury. Jury is singular or plural? Yes, boys. Jury is singular. It's a collective noun. Members of the jury? Plural. Okay, let's look at this sentence. The chain of large businesses vows to stop poaching clients from smaller stores. Is that correct? Your verb is vows. What's your subject?
The largest. The chain.
Read carefully. Remember, whenever you see off, you should. That's a red signal. Off is a red signal. You have to stop and think. The chain of large businesses. What's your subject? Chain. The chain, not businesses. Your verb is related to the chain. The chain is collective or plural? Collective. Your verb will be singular. Collective noun, singular verb. Yeah. So it's what is most important. If you cannot identify the subject correctly, you cannot get your answer. You'll always go wrong. That's what they're testing you. Whether you can analyze or not. IP Math is not about just learning the rules. IP Math is about analyzing. So they're testing you. Now, if you get an answer wrong, means according to them, you haven't used your analytical skills. How can you be a manager if you don't use your analytical skills? And that is something that is inborn, or you can develop. So even if you don't have it, we have to develop it, right? Because here there is no ratta. You can't have like all your questions and answers given to you and mug up. Not happen. You know your rules, you have to apply. Okay, let's look at this one. Erika's family. Family is collective now. Yeah, so singular verb. The herd, simple, the herd is temporary. Herd is collective. If I said the herd of cows.
Is hard stand.
There you go. Think, you don't think, you answer before you think. The herd of cows Subject is still her. Of. Write down in bold capital letters. Of. Beware of. Yeah. It's a very dangerous word. So whenever you come across a subject, a compound subject, and off in the middle, stop, think, then answer. Okay? Now, as I said, there always, sometimes there can be exceptions, right? Now, sometimes the collective noun can be singular or plural, depending upon what it is associated with, right? If the collective noun is acting as a unit, singular. If the collective noun itself is acting as different parts of the unit, then, yes, are you feeling sleepy? Drink some water. So let's look at this one. Now the committee is discussing. It's correct, right? Now if we say committee members, then we are talking about the units of the committee. Committee is not a single unit anymore. The units of the committee becomes plural. Or if we have something like this, the committee are agreeing on the issue on the installing street lamps, on the installation of the. Yeah. So would that be correct? Yes or no?
It should be the committees.
Sometimes, now this is where we may go wrong, because figuring out whether it is actually singular or plural is difficult. I agree. So we are not talking about, now if we say members, it becomes easy. We are talking about the members. But in this case, the committee is discussing, the committee are disagreeing. We have disagreeing. What's the context? Disagree. Now, will a single committee disagree? No. So there are different committees that are disagreeing. So if you have a sentence like this and it doesn't say committees, but says committee, you have to look at the context. Agreeing, yeah, discussing, the committee is discussing, fine. But disagreeing, the committee members are disagreeing, is okay. That means the members of that single committee. But when we talk about disagreeing and we have just committee, means they are different committees. So the committee are disagreeing. Right? There are few exceptions of the general rule, but we have to look at the context. Right? So when you get the PPT, remember to mark this as important. So like police. Police can be singular or plural, depending upon the usage. Women, as such, it is plural. But in usage, it can be singular or plural. Yeah. If it is used as a single unit, it will be singular. If not as a single unit, it will be plural. Like clergy, gentry. the clergy do not agree to give you the visa. In that case, the clergy is not acceptable. Okay, let's see. Now, if you have two singular nouns referring to the same person, any example coming to your mind? Say my coach and advisor can refer to the same person, right? Now, how will you know they are two different people? My coach and my advisor. Then it's clear that they are two different people. Coach and advisor depends upon what comes after that. Now, suppose it refers to the same person, then it will be treated as a singular subject. Right? The principal and secretary of the school.
If there are two doors, then it's different.
If there are two those, then it is two different subjects or two different people. If we say the principal and secretary, means it is referring to the same person. So it will be treated as a singular subject. Right? Like the captain and coach of the team has been sacked. Captain and coach referring to the same person, singular verb. Now, if you have two subjects expressing one idea, like bread and butter, how do you use that? Bread and butter, singular. Law and order, singular. Two ideas referring to the same, or two subjects referring to the same idea, singular. Law and order was established in the Old West. Titles of books. These are all rules. We are not going into too many details. We'll do exercises. You will come across these, right? Titles of books, movies, and novels are always treated as singular, even if they may seem to be plural. Like Arabian Nights. It's a title of a book, singular, right? Like The Tourist is the name of a book. We have a singular verb, is a movie starring Angelina Jolie. Okay. Now, indefinite pronouns. This is a little complicated sometimes, unless you know how to deal with them. What are indefinite pronouns? Any idea? So indefinite pronouns are something which are not specific, like somebody, anybody, nobody. These are, does not refer to somebody specific, right? These are called indefinite pronouns. Now, how to deal with them? The singular plural, somebody would be singular. Anybody, singular. Everybody,
It's still treated as
still singular. So all indefinite pronouns are usually treated as singular. So each one, either, neither, everybody, everyone, anyone. What else? Anybody, nobody, somebody, someone. So anything that begins with some and has one in it, or somebody, these are all indefinite pronouns and are treated as singular. Right? No, no one, also singular. You're talking about each person, one person, or a single unit. So no smoking or drinking is allowed or are allowed?
Yes.
Is allowed. Yeah, we have no. So your subject is not smoking and drinking. It's no. Okay, so these are indefinite pronouns. Every man and woman. We have man and woman. Are those our subjects? No. Every is our subject. So what are we looking for? We are looking for what is going to determine whether our verb is singular or plural. Now, man and woman, you may say, and in the middle of the two subjects, verb will be plural. That's wrong. We have every in the beginning. Every man, every woman means singular. Every single man, every single woman treated as singular subjects. Right? So your subject here is not man, woman, it is every. Each of the boys. When we say each of the boys, what does it mean? Each one of them. Right? So your verb will be singular. Each of the boys are athletic would be wrong. Each of the boys is athletic. There's a sheet, attendance sheet. So each of the participants. Now here we go back to a simple rule. Again, we have that should be the clue. Whenever you have of, that's a clue. Anything that comes before the of is your subject. Yeah. Each of the participants was. Verb will be singular. So indefinite pronouns, anything with each, one, some, your verb will be singular. Very sleepy? Very important. I won't repeat this again. Okay? We'll come to that. Okay. Now suppose we say everybody. I will offer a gift to everybody who participates. Everybody is again. Everybody will be singular. Right? No one. Singular. Okay? Clear so far? No confusion? You have to remember the rules. Now suppose we have few, many, others, several, both. What type of pronouns are these? These are also indefinite pronouns, but are they countable, non-countable? Many, several. Several can be countable or uncountable. So here, now when we have few, many, others, several, both. But remember, we use the plural verb because these amount to countable. Few, when you say few, will you use few with a volume? Will you say few milk? What will you say with milk? Some milk. Some is uncountable. Few, always count. So your verb will be plural. Right? Many were chosen. We can count the many, no? Even if it is in the thousands, they're still countable. Several, again, it is countable. So these are also indefinite pronouns, but they are countable. And we have to, now again, if we say few of the boys, then it is countable. Few of the forests, in the world amounts to uncountable. Right? So the context is important here, whether the context is countable or not. Say all. When you are referring to something that is not countable, you would use singular. When you are referring to something that is countable, it will be plural. Right? So what is it associated with? Right? All is lost. Can I count something? It refers to what? It's, you can't count it, so it is singular. All are welcome. You're talking about people are welcome, so you can count the people. So you have a plural verb. Some of the water, similarly with some of the water is gone. Some of the water, it is countable or uncountable? Uncountable. Yeah. Some of the cookies, countable. You put them in a jar, you counted 100 cookies. Some of them are missing. So they are countable. So when you have uncountable subject, your verb is singular. If you have countable subjects, your verb is plural. Alright? So when you use all is not always singular or plural, it depends upon the subject. So all, any, none, some, most, you have to be careful of identifying the subject associated. Okay. Okay, now a great deal of, plenty of, most of, some of, few, many, several. How will you use these? What verbs? Singular or plural? Everyone's feeling disinterested. Yeah. Okay. Hello. A lot of. Think about a sentence with a lot of.
There were a lot of kids.
A lot of.
Kids in the park.
So that's singular or plural? Plural. Yeah. Think about a lot of with singular as a usage in the singular form. Think.
There was a lot of money in the bank.
Money in the bank. So when you talk about money as a volume, it is singular. Money as, say, I spent some money, that's also singular, right? So money in general, when you use it, it is singular. So let's see. Now, so as you can see, a lot of, a great deal of, plenty of, these will be singular or plural depending upon the context. Yes or no? So now, so when you are referring to an amount as a volume, we use a singular verb. When you are referring to a number, so it amounts to whether it is countable or not countable. Something that is a large volume, not countable, singular. something that is a small number, countable, plural. Right? Are you getting bored? Some people are. Yes or no? See, grammar may be boring, but it's very important. Now you have to remember all these grammar rules will amount to how many questions? If you're talking about IPM Indore, 5 questions.
47.
5 to 6 questions of sentence improvement. If you talk about GIPMAT, grammar will be about 10 to 12 questions. And it may be direct grammar also. Sentence correction, identify the wrong part of the sentence. If you talk about other exams, 10 to 12 questions. Right? So, it's an important part. And yeah, grammar is a big volume. So when you get your new study material, you find grammar is 2 volumes. 2 big books of just grammar.
We'll get next week.
Huh? It should have been here, you should have got it today, but unfortunately they haven't. So next week. So now if we talk about some entertainment is countable, not countable. Abstract noun, uncountable. You have a singular verb. Some guess is countable. Yes or no? So there you go. So anything that is countable will have a plural verb. A lot of. How do you use a lot of? A lot of work has been done. The work is a volume of work. Can you count the parts of the work? Yeah. Now, if you can enumerate that this comprised of the work, then those parts are countable. Work as such, treated as uncountable. A lot of people, countable. So, plural work. Now, some men are needed for the battle. Countable are. Some milk is quite uncountable. Yeah, unless you say I can count the molecules of them. Right? Most of the glasses is countable. Most of the money, uncountable. Yeah. So whenever you come across these type of sentences, think whether your subject is countable or not. Glasses, whether you talk about spectacles or any other glass, countable, you can count. Right? Let's look at these 4 sentences. Okay, these 4 sentences, choose the verb. That's finished. Many words, right?
Yes.
Some of the money
Yes.
is each of the players known, singular. You're talking about each, right? And even if you're confused, you have the of to help you. Right? Okay. Now one of, not the confusing person. How do you use one of? One of what? right? So now one of means belonging to a larger group. One of the tigers, one of the boys, one of the students. So something taken from the larger group. Yeah. So your subject will be the larger group or one of. One of. Right? So rather your subject will be one. No? Singular. Right? So whether you have a plural or singular, whatever comes after that, your verb is still singular. Right? So you have one of plus, now here's another thing you have to remember. One of will be followed by a plural noun or pronoun. Okay? And then will come the singular verb. So write the structure. One of plus a plural noun or pronoun. You'll never have a singular noun or pronoun after one of. So if you have a sentence given to you with parts, and after one of you have a singular noun coming in, means that is an error. Okay? Now this one of plus a plural noun or pronoun plus a singular verb. So if the structure is missing or anything wrong, if you have a one of followed by a singular noun or pronoun and a plural verb, it's wrong. Or a plural noun plus a plural verb, then also it's wrong. Now, one of the students is late. Students is plural. One of the students. Your subject, your verb is related to what? One. One is a single unit, always single. One of them is a doctor. Them is plural, but that doesn't matter. Our verb is still is. One of them is taller than the others. Correct? Yes or no? Correct? Okay, let's look at this one. You have two sentences. One of my friend is from Italy. One of my friends is from Italy. Second one. So one of will always be followed by a plural noun or pronoun. Now, a few of, some of, most of, all of, none of. What about these? How will you treat them? Yes? Plural? Sure? A few of, few is countable. Yeah? But suppose we have a singular subject after this. Will we have a singular subject after this? Because there will always be part of a whole. So we are talking about multiple things, whether it's people or things. So they are countable nouns, verb will be plural. A few of my friends are from it. Right? Now suppose we say some of my friends. Still plural? Some of refers to a plural subject. Part of many. Some of is part of many. Most of, again, plural. All of, yes, what's the discussion going on? What's so important? So when you have one of, we are we have a singular verb. Whereas when you are talking about a few of, some of, most of, all of, we have
Plural.
plural. What about none of?
Plural.
None of? Plural? Sure.
Yes.
None of means no one. So no one will be plural or singular. Confused.
Plural.
We will use plural. Because we are talking about none of the whole. When we are talking about one of, it means one. Here we are talking about none of all of them. So none is what? We can count it as zero. So in usage, we use all. None of my friends are from Italy. If we expand it, I don't have any friends from Italy. Yeah. So that is used as plural. So when you have none of, don't be confused, it is still plural. Only one of will be singular. Some of, all of, few of, they're all plural. Okay? Getting bored? Yawning? Like none of my friends are firefighters. Yeah? None of them. So still plural. Okay. Now when we have uncountable nouns, some of this information we say singular word. Now what about most of? Please put it on silent. What the time?
8 to 10.
Okay. I will do. Now when you talk about most of, if your subject or the noun or pronoun that follows is an abstract noun, then singular. Most of my friends is plural. Most of the information is an abstract noun, so singular. Right? So always read the entire sentence. See what the subject or the pronoun or noun that follows is. And that's clear. Okay. All of this information, all of with an uncountable subject. Simple. Right? None of this information is. Right? So when all of, most of, none of is associated with something countable, we go with plural. When it is associated with something that is uncountable or abstract, we go with a singular word. So context is important. Now, always it can't be that most of is associated with plural verb. Depends upon the subject. Got it? Okay, now one of. Can we have one of with uncountable things? Yes or no? One of means part of something that you can count. Right? So one of will not be used with uncountable nouns. Remember this, one of not to be used with uncountable nouns. And few. A few also doesn't go with uncountable nouns.
But there's a like, can you give me a few dollars like money is not countable, but then we do use that.
We use it, but grammatically, when we're talking about grammar, that's not good. There are many words and phrases that we use in speaking as a dialect, which grammatically we don't use. Right? Especially in English, you may come across a lot of things which we use, but when we come to an exam related to grammar, that will be okay. So anything that is uncountable, one of will not be associated with it. Few of will not be associated. Most of can be associated with countable or uncountable. All of, yes or no. Countable, uncountable, both. Only the verb will change. With uncountable, it will be a singular verb. None of can be used with countable or uncountable. But one of, few of can be used only with countable. Okay? These are things which we need to remember. They're very simple but important rules. Now, majority. The majority voted singular or plural? Majority by itself is always singular. If it is majority of something, then it is singular or plural depending upon the subject. Depending upon what it is referring to. Right? So you can write this, majority by itself is singular. And majority of something can be singular or plural depending on what it is referring to. Like the majority is supporting the CM. You have a singular verb is. Right? The majority of voters are. Right? You're talking about majority of something countable. So, plural. Correct? Now let's look at this one. The majority of the samples, we're talking about samples. So, samples is plural. We have are. Now look at this next one. The majority of the sample. We're talking about one sample and most of that sample. So, singular or plural? Singular. We're talking about one sample and majority of that sample. So, in that case, it will be singular. We have a singular verb. Okay? So, whenever you have come across the word majority, see how it is used. If it is just majority, it's singular. Majority of, what is it referring to? It is referring to something singular, something plural. Similarly, a number of and the number of. You have patience for this? So when would you use the number of? Confusing? A number of, the number of. Singular, plural. How do we write? Let me just finish this off. The number of, when it's used with a singular subject. Singular verb. Mostly, a number of, you will use a plural. Now, what is the difference between using the and a? You use the when it is
When
specific.
you know the number, and you use when you don't know.
When it is in general. Right? So, the number of will be singular, a number of will be plural. So, if we say a number of or a large number, you will use, again, this is good. When you say a large number of, then you will count. Right? So, when you use singular plural, your nouns and your verbs will be plural. That's a deviation from the rule. Right? A number of is in general plural. A large number of your noun and verb both will be. Now whether you use a number or the number, usually what will the noun be? Singular or plural? Good. You're talking about the number of people or the number of students. Think of it this way. How will you use the number? How do you use the number? Use it in a sentence. If you use just the number, you can use single. The number is large. But the number of what? So it's a part of the whole, right? So the number of absentees is large. A number of boys were absent. So you have a plural noun. A number of students, a number of something that is plural. Plural. What about this? A number of players is or are still injured from the last game. Are. This one, the number of players accused of taking steroids is or are increasing.
It's increased.
Is increasing. Yeah. What is the subject referring to? Specifically the number. Whereas in a number, it is a number of the whole. So when it becomes specific, the number, we have a singular verb. A number takes a plural. Right? Okay, this is last one. The number of people without health insurance have grown steadily since the mid-1990s at nearly 44 million. And at nearly 44 million, R is a record high.
Has grown steadily
Mhm.
since the mid-1990s and has been and is at a record.
Exactly. So both your verbs will be single. Yeah? Enough for today? ज़्यादा हो गया? See, whenever we pick up any topic, there's lots of these rules we do. Yeah? And each of these rules are important. Okay, so I'll share this PPT. Yeah. And you can go through it, do the rules again. Remy, did you follow everything?
Yes, ma'am.
Was clear?
Yes.
So that's it for today. Now your homework. Okay, what I'll do is I'll since you haven't got your books, I was waiting for you people to get your books. I will share a PDF, yeah, with some exercises, some I think 20 or 30 questions. Yeah, try to do it. Right? So over the week. Now don't be too slow. Another thing, remember, as we move on, we have to be able to apply rules, solve the questions, and solve them fast. So at the end of it, you should be able to solve a grammar question in less than 30 seconds. Right? So that's why you have to be thorough with your regime. You should be able to identify an error the moment you see it. Okay? Okay then, thank you. Yeah? See you next
Thank
Sunday.
you, ma'am.
Do you want the timing to be extended?
Extend.
No?
You're not, first thing, you're not going slow or anything. Why
Yeah.
should we? Are they going slow?
Because we have a lot of things to do.
Last year it got completed on time.
Yeah, because most of the exercises we weren't doing at class. And homework discussion become. Huh? Okay, maybe we'll decide on that next one. Okay?
I
Bye.